Humanity is running out of time. The planet is overheating. Entire ecosystems are collapsing, and food is becoming more valuable than money. But in Thailand, one corporation claims it has found a way to keep millions alive. What nobody realizes is that the food meant to save the country is about to turn Bangkok into a nightmare. In the near future, global temperatures have climbed to catastrophic levels. Millions of fish have died, countless species have disappeared, and melting polar ice has released ancient bacteria back into the environment. Food shortages spread across multiple countries, and desperation quickly turns into riots. Thailand appears to be one of the few places still holding together. After remaining largely cut off from the outside world for more than a decade, the government insists the nation still has enough resources to survive. One of the companies helping maintain that supply is the powerful agricultural corporation Versus. Singh, a former Thai boxing fighter, now works as one of its delivery drivers. During another dangerous run toward Bangkok, he tells his coworker Kryang that he's done with this life. After this delivery, he plans to walk away for good and spend more time with his girlfriend Ren. But before they can even finish the job, trouble finds them. A truck blocks the road ahead, and Singh immediately notices several armed thugs waiting nearby. Instead of letting them make the first move, he attacks without hesitation, smashing one man's head into the side of the vehicle before turning on the rest. The gang quickly learns they're dealing with someone who used to fight professionally. Singh tears through them with punches, elbows, and devastating kicks. One attacker manages to slash his cheek, but that's about as much damage as anyone can do. While Singh keeps the gang occupied, another thug slips around to the back of the delivery truck and starts opening one of the crates. Before he can take anything, Kryang catches him and knocks him down, securing the cargo again. When the two finally enter Bangkok, the city barely looks alive. Abandoned buildings line the streets. Desperate residents wait in endless lines for water while others pray for help that clearly isn't coming. Police patrol the area aggressively, beating anyone they consider a threat. Even helping people accused of rioting can make someone an enemy of the government. Singh and Kryang eventually reach the warehouse, but because one crate was opened during the attack, the company refuses to pay them the full amount. Kryang still keeps his promise to Singh and gives him an old motorcycle as payment. Then, curiosity gets the better of him. He opens the damaged crate and discovers something almost impossible to find anymore. Fresh fish. For people living through a worldwide food crisis, it's practically a luxury item. Singh takes some home with him. Ren, who works as a doctor, immediately notices the cut on his face and treats the wound while criticizing him for risking his life on yet another delivery. Singh insists this really was his final job. Ren has heard that promise before, so she doesn't exactly believe him. Outside, the situation continues getting worse. Authorities announce that electricity will soon be shut off in the neighborhood, while Ren leaves for the hospital aboard a transport vehicle reserved for essential workers. At the same time, Versus executive Purich is attending an extravagant lunch with wealthy investors. While ordinary citizens fight over basic supplies, these men sit comfortably inside, drinking wine and eating fresh fish. Purich proudly explains that Versus plans to transform Thailand into a global food hub. With the right investment, he believes the company can become more powerful than ever. Then, without warning, his body turns against him. Purich suddenly coughs up blood before collapsing onto the floor in violent convulsions. Until now, the crisis has been about hunger. From this moment on, food is no longer the solution, it may be the source of something far worse. Across town, Ren is preparing for surgery when the hospital director unexpectedly pulls her away. A powerful patient requires attention in a restricted section of the hospital, an area kept far cleaner and safer than the overcrowded wards used by ordinary people. There, Ren meets Vasu, the head of Versus Corporation. His wife is seriously ill, and Vasu has brought fresh fish from the company because he believes it might help her recover. Ren refuses to approve it without proper testing. Vasu doesn't care. That arrogance matters because everyone still believes Versus controls the one thing keeping Thailand alive. In reality, the company may have already delivered the outbreak straight into the city. He reminds her that his company is feeding the country, making it clear that he isn't accustomed to being told no. While that argument continues, Purich is rushed into the same hospital. His condition is getting worse by the second. Doctors sedate him, but he continues vomiting blood and struggling to breathe. Dark veins begin spreading across his body as the medical team desperately performs CPR. Nothing works. Purich dies. The doctors think they've lost one patient. What they don't realize is that they've just created the first link in a chain that could consume the entire hospital. At least, that's what everyone thinks. Once most of the medical staff leaves the room, his body suddenly begins moving again. His eyes darken, his muscles violently spasm. Then he lunges at a nearby nurse. Minutes later, Ren and the director return toward the main hospital and realize something is terribly wrong. Doctors and nurses are sprinting through the corridors in complete panic. Two badly injured staff members collapse in front of them. Then Puric appears. Except, he's no longer human. He attacks the wounded doctors and bites them, spreading the infection almost instantly. And this is where the situation stops being a medical emergency and becomes a full-scale outbreak. Every person who falls now has the potential to get back up. Back at home, Singh hears an emergency announcement over the radio warning everyone to stay away from the hospital. Ren is inside. That's all he needs to hear. He jumps onto his motorcycle and races toward her, never noticing that the supposedly dead fish sitting inside his home has started twitching. Outside the hospital, terrified relatives demand answers, while police prevent anyone from getting closer. Even the officers admit they barely understand what's happening. Then two bodies suddenly crash through an upper-floor window. A doctor and a security guard slam into the pavement below, covering the area in blood. When an officer approaches the doctor, she suddenly reanimates and attacks him. She bites him before he manages to shoot her in the head. The fallen guard also rises moments later, forcing the police to shoot him as well. But he's already managed to infect a nurse. Within seconds, panic consumes the entire street. People pour out of the hospital while officers fire warning shots and threaten anyone who refuses to follow orders. That only makes the crowd more terrified. Soon the police stop trying to control the situation and begin firing directly into civilians, unable or unwilling to separate infected people from innocent ones. Now surviving the infected isn't enough. The panic outside has made the authorities almost as dangerous as the creatures inside. Singh uses the chaos as his opportunity. While everyone is focused on escaping, he slips inside. The hospital is already becoming a slaughterhouse. Singh came here for one person, but the deeper he goes, the smaller his chances become of ever finding her alive. A security guard desperately fights an infected patient using nothing but a baton. While deeper inside the building, the restricted floors have been completely overrun. Blood covers the walls. Bodies fill the corridors. Every new victim creates another attacker. Ren is hiding inside a room with the injured hospital director. For a moment, everything outside becomes strangely quiet. She considers leaving, but suddenly feels movement somewhere behind her. The director is gone. Ren searches for him and soon discovers why. He's crouched over a dead nurse, feeding on her body. The moment he notices Ren, he attacks. She narrowly avoids him, and he crashes into a set of shelves, temporarily trapping himself. Ren runs. Then, over the hospital intercom, she hears a familiar voice. Singh, he's calling her name. Ren rushes toward the nearest phone to answer him, but before she can respond, the entire hospital loses power. The blackout changes everything. Singh now has to search a building he doesn't know. One of them attacks him almost immediately. Unfortunately for the zombie, Singh hasn't forgotten how to fight. He uses the room itself as a weapon, slamming the creature into furniture, wrapping it with a phone cord, and eventually driving it onto a broken table leg. But that's only the beginning. More infected rush him in the hallway. Singh fights his way through with punches and brutal kicks, before sealing a door behind him and racing toward the stairs. Then, he hears someone screaming for help. Nearby, a young boy named Buddy is desperately trying to escape another infected patient. The creature is initially trapped in a medical harness, giving Buddy enough time to hide behind some curtains. That advantage doesn't last. The zombie breaks loose and chases him across the room. Buddy crawls behind a bed, but the creature follows underneath and is seconds away from grabbing him when Singh suddenly appears and drags it backward. As Singh fights, Buddy gives him one very useful piece of information. Destroy the brain, and they stay down. That one detail gives Singh a fighting chance. But it also confirms something important. These aren't patients he can simply knock down and leave behind anymore. Singh immediately adjusts his strategy. Instead of simply knocking the infected away, he starts targeting their heads, using everything from his fists to a glass bottle. When another zombie jumps onto Buddy and appears to bite his leg, Singh crushes its head before it can continue. Buddy immediately panics, convinced he's infected. Then they notice something ridiculous. The zombie had false teeth. Its bite never broke his skin. Singh prepares to continue searching for Ren, but Buddy begs to come with him. His mother works at the hospital and was scheduled on a floor connected to Ren. That means the kid might actually know where Singh needs to go. Singh agrees to take him. Outside, the authorities become even more ruthless. A terrified little girl walks out of the hospital crying for her mother. Police order her to stop, but she's too frightened to understand what's happening. A guard runs forward and tries to explain that the child isn't infected. The officers shoot him. Then they kill the girl too. The city's response has officially collapsed. No one is stopping to figure out who is infected anymore. Fear is making the decisions. Elsewhere, military officials reach a horrifying conclusion. The infection is spreading too quickly to contain. Their solution is simple. Destroy the entire hospital. And now the story gets a deadline. Singh isn't just searching for Ren anymore, he's doing it inside a building that's about to be erased. A military team is immediately sent inside carrying explosives, unaware that survivors are still trapped throughout the building. Meanwhile, Ren reaches the hospital's security office, but the door is locked. The keys are attached to the body of a dead guard lying nearby. Or at least, he looks dead. Ren slowly reaches toward him and grabs the keys. The guard suddenly wakes up and attacks. She barely manages to shove him away, unlock the security room, and get inside before barricading the entrance with a cabinet. From there, she checks the hospital cameras. What she sees is terrifying. Every hallway is compromised. There is no safe section left. Ren finally understands the scale of the disaster. There isn't a safe route through the hospital anymore, only temporary places to hide. At the same time, Singh and Buddy find a staff schedule showing that both Ren and Buddy's mother were supposed to be assisting with surgery on the 5th floor. They immediately head upward. Along the way, they encounter an infected patient in a wheelchair who tries to chase them, but simply falls onto the floor. Buddy can't help laughing. Big mistake. The sound attracts several more infected. Within seconds, a small horde floods into the corridor. Singh knocks down as many as he can, but there are too many. He and Buddy run, block part of the hallway with a stretcher, and rush into the nearest patient room before barricading the door with a desk. Inside, they find a young man sitting beside his sick father. The man has already given up hope. Believing there is no way out and terrified of becoming infected, he takes a fatal amount of his father's medication. He tells his father he loves him and collapses. The outbreak isn't only destroying bodies. For some survivors, the fear of what comes next is enough to destroy any hope of making it out. Then the zombies begin breaking through the barricade. Wood splinters. Hands reach through the doorway. Singh realizes they have only seconds left. He smashes open the window and climbs outside with Buddy just before the infected burst into the room. Behind them, the horde attacks the body they left behind. Singh and Buddy climb onto scaffolding running along the outside of the hospital. But even out there, they're not safe. Every time they pass another window, infected patients inside reach through the glass, desperately trying to drag them back in. And somewhere above them, Ren is still trapped inside the same building. What Singh doesn't know is that the zombies aren't the only thing threatening his life anymore. The military has already entered the hospital, and they're preparing to blow the entire place apart. By now, every direction is dangerous. Inside are the infected, outside is a deadly drop, and somewhere above them is Singh's only reason for staying in this building. As Singh and Buddy continue across the scaffolding, Buddy's backpack suddenly catches on the metal frame. That single mistake nearly gets him killed. An infected creature reaches through a nearby window and grabs his leg, pulling him toward its mouth. Before it can bite him, Singh grabs a metal rod and hurls it straight into the zombie's eye. The creature drops instantly. Singh pulls the terrified boy back up, and eventually, the two find another way inside the hospital. From this point on, they move as quietly as possible. Buddy suddenly spots someone familiar. His mother, Mink. He rushes into her arms, overwhelmed with relief. Mink gives Buddy his inhaler, then tells Singh that Ren should be somewhere on the 10th floor. Buddy immediately begs his mother to come with them. But Mink doesn't move. Then Singh notices why. She's been bitten. For Buddy, the outbreak suddenly becomes personal. Mink already knows what is going to happen to her, so her final priority is making sure her son doesn't share the same fate. Knowing she doesn't have much time left, Mink asks Singh to protect her son and get him out alive. Buddy refuses to accept it. He clings to his mother, crying, forcing Singh to physically pull him away. But once they reach the hallway, Buddy bites Singh's hand, breaks free, and runs back. By the time he reaches Mink, it's already too late. She's turned. Mink snarls at them from behind a window, but before she can attack, The sound of a crying baby catches her attention. Singh immediately grabs Buddy and runs. He carries the boy through the corridor, kicking away any infected that gets too close until they finally reach the stairwell. Buddy completely breaks down. He doesn't want to move anymore. Singh reminds him of the one thing his mother wanted most, for him to survive. Singh can't promise Buddy that things will get better. All he can do is carry Mink's final wish and keep the boy moving. That finally gets Buddy moving again. Elsewhere, Ren discovers that Vasu is still alive and hiding inside his wife's room. She races toward him with infected closing in behind her and desperately begs to be let inside. Vasu finally opens the door just long enough for Ren to slip through before sealing it again. After everything she's witnessed, Ren begins falling apart. Vasu tells her to stay calm, claiming that his people will soon arrive to rescue them, and he's right. Military command has received new orders. Vasu and his wife must be extracted before the hospital is destroyed. Some soldiers object because there are only 30 minutes left before the explosives are scheduled to detonate. The order doesn't change. The rescue order also reveals exactly who still matters to the people in charge. A helicopter soon lands on the roof, and Singh and Buddy notice its lights while climbing the stairs. Inside the room, Vasu realizes his wife's blood supply is almost empty. He convinces Ren to search for more by promising that when the rescue team arrives, he'll make sure she leaves with them. Ren has no better option. She steps back into the infected hospital alone. Moving carefully through the corridors, she waits for a gap between the zombies and rushes into another room. But the sound of the door closing alerts them. At the same time, Singh and Buddy finally reach the 10th floor. The entrance is jammed, so Singh uses a metal bar to pry it open. A few moments later, he sees Ren's necklace lying on the floor. His expression immediately changes. For one horrible second, he believes he's already lost her. Then, he spots Ren sprinting across the hallway before disappearing into another room. She's alive. Unfortunately, several infected are chasing her. Singh pushes a stretcher into their path, forcing the creatures to leap over it, then steps forward with the metal bar and starts fighting. On the opposite side of the floor, gunfire suddenly erupts. The military rescue squad has arrived. Soldiers cut through the infected and reach Vasu's room. But once they secure Vasu and his wife, they leave immediately. They don't wait for Ren. Singh continues fighting until he finally sees her through a glass partition. The reunion lasts only a second. Another zombie appears behind Ren, forcing her to run again. Buddy tries opening the door between them, but it's stuck. Singh grabs a fire extinguisher and throws it through the glass. When the infected closes in on Ren, Buddy activates the extinguisher, blasting the creature and buying her enough time to escape. Ren hides nearby, but accidentally steps on a metal tray. The sound gives away her position. The zombie charges. Singh reaches it first and repeatedly smashes the extinguisher against its head until it stops moving. Finally, after everything they've been through, Singh and Ren are back together. They embrace. For the first time since the outbreak began, Singh finally reaches the person he came here to save. But with the bomb clock still running, finding Ren is only half the problem. But their relief doesn't last. Nearby, the rescue team becomes surrounded by another horde. The soldiers easily gun most of them down, but during the fight, the team's military doctor is bitten. They shoot him before he can transform. That's when Vasu refuses to leave. His wife needs medical attention during transport, and their only doctor is dead. So Vasu orders the soldiers to go back for Ren. When Singh, Ren, and Buddy step out of the room, the rescue team spots them. Without warning, one soldier shoots Singh in the shoulder. Ren rushes toward him, but the team grabs her and pulls her away. Then even more infected flood into the area. This time, Vasu himself is forced to grab a weapon and start shooting to protect his wife. Buddy refuses to abandon Singh. He cries beside him until Singh somehow forces himself back onto his feet. Badly wounded and barely able to move, Singh joins the fight again. He uses whatever he can find as a weapon and helps bring down the nearby infected. When the soldiers attempt to shoot him again, Singh grabs one of them and uses the man as a human shield. A brutal hand-to-hand fight begins. Singh attacks with a crutch, then tries choking the soldier using the strap from his helmet. The soldier cuts himself free. Under normal circumstances, Singh might have the advantage, but with a bullet wound in his shoulder, every movement costs him. The soldier overpowers him, lands several hard punches, and eventually traps Singh in a chokehold. Singh starts losing consciousness. Then a zombie suddenly attacks the soldier. He's forced to release Singh and defend himself. That gives Singh just enough time to recover. When the fight resumes, the two men are far more evenly matched. They exchange blow after blow until eventually both collapse. A zombie immediately jumps onto the soldier. Singh barely registers what's happening. All he can think about is Ren. She finds him and drags him into a safer room, where she and Buddy work together to treat his injuries. Eventually, Singh wakes up. He apologizes for constantly making Ren worry. Ren tells him she should be apologizing too, admitting she doesn't know what she would do without him. Singh takes the ring hanging from her necklace and places it on her finger. If they somehow survive this, he promises they're finally going back to their hometown. It's a quiet promise in the worst possible place, and both of them know they may never get the chance to keep it. But survival just became much harder. Only 15 minutes remain before the hospital explodes, and the soldier who fought Singh has now turned. Buddy hears him approaching and warns the others seconds before he attacks. Singh grabs several chemical bottles and throws them toward the creature. Then he launches a flare. The chemicals ignite instantly. The burning zombie collapses as Singh, Ren, and Buddy escape. A moment later, the hospital's sprinkler system activates. None of them realize the water has just triggered something inside the infected. The zombies begin changing again. As if the first version of the infected wasn't dangerous enough, the outbreak has entered a second phase. When the group reaches another corridor, they find Vasu still beside his wife. She's been bitten. But Vasu refuses to leave her. After watching her remain unconscious for so long, he's almost happy simply to see her moving again. He approaches her, tells her he loves her, and gets close enough to touch her. She immediately bites him. Vasu spends the entire crisis believing money and power can protect him. In the end, the person he refuses to abandon is the one who seals his fate. Singh, Ren, and Buddy run while the infected swarm Vasu's bed and tear into him. Eventually, the trio reaches the hospital's vehicle ramps. Another horde appears behind them. Singh realizes somebody has to hold them back. He orders Ren and Buddy to keep running while he stays behind. For the first time, Singh's fighting skills aren't enough to dominate them. While he struggles below, Ren and Buddy reach the rooftop. A soldier immediately points his weapon at them until he confirms neither one has been infected. Ren explains that Vasu and the rest of the rescue team are dead, but she refuses to leave without Singh. The soldier reluctantly gives him 5 minutes. Down in the parking area, Singh becomes trapped inside a car while mutated zombies attack through every window. He kicks and strikes at anything that reaches inside. One of the infected is a dead soldier. During the struggle, a grenade attached to the zombie becomes dislodged. Seconds later, the entire vehicle explodes. Somehow, Singh survives. He crawls from the wreckage and looks up to see hundreds of infected creatures coming toward him. On the roof, time runs out. The soldier orders Ren and Buddy into the helicopter despite their protests. The aircraft begins lifting away. Then Singh finally appears. He's made it, but he's seconds too late. The helicopter is already airborne. This is the cruelest moment of the escape. Singh survives everything needed to reach the roof, only to miss safety by a matter of seconds. Ren looks down at him helplessly. Singh looks back. Neither of them can do anything. They share what appears to be one final goodbye as the infected smash through the rooftop entrance behind him. With nowhere left to run, Singh turns around and fights. He keeps swinging until the final possible second. Then the explosives detonate. The entire hospital disappears in a massive blast. From Ren's point of view, that explosion ends the story. She leaves believing the man who kept fighting for everyone else never made it out himself. Sometime later, Ren has returned to her hometown with Buddy. Singh is gone. At least, that's what everyone believes. Because back inside the ruins, something moves. Singh survived the explosion by hiding inside a massive storage tank. But Singh has spent the entire night proving one thing. No matter how many times he's knocked down, he refuses to stay there.